So the glycemic index should be 50 or lower.
Okay.
Lower it is, the better it is. So yeah, anything over 50 is a higher glycemic index.
Got it. How is your, let's see, I want to talk about 2020 now. And 2020 has been this weird year. I just can't wait till it's over. But it's been an unprecedented and difficult. In fact, COVID-19 has created a perfect storm for people who struggle with weight. Gyms are closed. People work from home. The holidays are around the corner. And right, they're coming up now with Thanksgiving next week and then Christmas. Dominique Kohlenberger, what tips can you give people to help them avoid the quarantine 15 going into a quarantine 30? And of course, you have to explain what Q15 and Q30 mean.
Yeah, Q15. So initially we were at Q15, so that means that we gained about 15 pounds during that first session of the quarantine time. But now quarantine, COVID is getting worse. So, quarantine lasts longer. So if you gain about 5 pounds a month, that's about 30. So we can talk almost of a Q30 right now, So, and you're right, people are at home, they're around food all the time. They're stressed. The kids are at home doing homeschooling, and there's just so much change, and change is always very stressful for people. So I have actually a little acronym that I like to share, Richard, if you don't mind,
Sure.
To describe our emotion, and to actually become aware of that particular emotion. And it's called blasted. So
Blasted. I like it. Okay.
If you're blasted, okay, you got to stop. Okay. So
Okay.
the B stands for bored. If you're bored, the L stands for lonely, which happens a lot during COVID, So the A stands for anxious or angry. If you're angry or anxious, the S stands for stressed. The T for tired. When you're tired, you don't make good decisions. The E is for excited. Sometimes we eat because we're excited. And the D is for depressed. So if you if you experience and if you become aware of any of these emotions, between the stimulus, which is that emotion, and your reaction, which automatically you grab something sweet or you grab something that comforts you, food, or a glass of wine, or, whatever it is,
Sure.
Between that stimulus and that reaction, there is a pause. There is actually a time that is your powerhouse. That is where you have control. So if you become aware of that emotion, you have the control and the power to stop, take a deep breath, maybe have a sip of water, realize why you have that emotion, and a lot of times choose a different outcome. So you have the choice to choose a different outcome at that time.
And the outcome is always water, right?
Well, not necessarily. It could be that you go for a walk, or that you listen to some music and dance, or you call a friend sometimes, So
Sure.
I have actually a whole list of things. I used to have a glass with little notes in there, and I would pick one. And so maybe I watch a webinar or something like that when I feel that way, So, or...
You are so scientific.
Am I too scientific?
Yeah. No.
I try to make it fun, So yeah.
That's good. No, I'm joking.
Oh, I know.
Some people don't want to ask for help and feel they can lose weight and get healthy on their own, okay, without a coach. Your thoughts and experience with this?
Well, I was that person, Richard. I thought I knew it all, right? I'm a health professional. Goodness gracious, we all know what to do, but why aren't we doing it? 70% of this country is overweight or obese. So there's something missing, okay? So, and of course, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of misinformation out there, So our program is scientifically based. There's 30 years of history, scientific history with this. We have studies and all that. But besides that, people need support. People need connection. They need to be understood, and they need a guide. So once I surrendered to that, I should say, so and said, hey, I do need help. That's when I made progress. And that's when I became successful, in my own journey. And and that's the beauty of this program as well. So.
Okay. So anyway, I think the best thing is really to have somebody, because it's really too difficult to do it on your own.
Yeah.
you know.
You can, but it requires a lot of willpower. And a lot of times, as soon as there is a bump in the road, as I mentioned earlier, people quit. You know, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start Monday. I'll start January 1st, whatever it is, you know, so we postpone and procrastinate.
Okay. Some people also believe that exercise is the key to maintaining a healthy weight and lifestyle, not diet. Okay. What would you say to these people? What would you say to them? And talk about the macro habits of health that you mentioned too.
Yeah. So exercise is definitely a macro habit of health. You know, we promote exercise, and exercise should be fun. It should not be a punishment, which some people see it that way. You know, I ate bad yesterday, so I got to run 10 miles, you know, the next day. So, right. So,
bang, bang.
Boom, you know, so that's not the purpose of exercise. The exercise is really meant to be fun and to make you feel good. It releases endorphins, reduces stress, but it's not a good weight loss tool per se. And the reason for that is, Richard, in order to lose a pound of fat, you need to burn about 3,500 calories.
3,500. Just losing 350 is very difficult.
Exactly. So 3,500 calories, that equals running a marathon.
That's unbelievable.
So to lose a pound of fat a week, you want to run a marathon a week?
So you go in the gym and you say do an hour of the treadmill, you lose maybe 400 calories, right?
Yes, exactly. And you know, it's such a vicious cycle too, because when you exercise more, you're more hungry, you know, and plus sometimes we just kind of say, oh, I exercised this morning, I can have this cookie right now, you know, so I deserve that because I exercised. And people they don't lose weight with exercise, you know, so, but it is a healthy habit indeed, you know, and we do recommend 30 minutes a day. I ran this morning and did my planks, so 30 minutes a day. And even if you can't do 30 minutes a day, do something every day, you know, even if it's 10 minutes, you know, or 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night or something like that. So do
the exercise, but make the diet. Remember that diet is always the key thing here, isn't it?
Correct. Yes. And so the other macro habits are healthy weight management. So being at a healthy weight, healthy nutrition, making good choices and healthy hydration, healthy movement, which is exercise, healthy mind. Healthy
keep
sleep.
Your thoughts clean.
Yes, healthy sleep, very important. People really underestimate the healthy sleep, that they really need 7 to 8 hours of good rest and good sleep, you know.
Everybody?
Yeah, really. Yeah. Men and women. Yes, exactly. Men usually 7, women 8 hours. So
I need 4 to 5. No, I need 5 to 6 hours of sleep.
You do?
After 6 hours is almost too much. Okay. I have more than 6, but everybody's different, right?
Everybody's a little different. So there's a little variation. You're right, but we do recommend 7 to 8 hours. You know, because there's a lot of chemical regeneration that's going on at night. Your leptin, which is actually a hormone that tells you that you're satisfied when you eat, that has to be regenerated at night. And if you don't have enough of that, you keep eating, right? So also your frontal cortex, you know, has to be rested. That's where you make your executive decisions. So if you don't have a good night's sleep or a good night rest, you know, then you might make not so good choices, you know. So, and the quality of sleep is important, you know, Richard. If you get good 6 hours solid sleep, better than 8 hours not solid sleep, you know. So
sure.
Yeah, so there's a difference with that too. So.
What about this, when you say the healthy weight management, you're going, say you want to get to, like I want to get to 84 kilos. So I get to 84 and I say, well, I can push it up to 86, you see. So in other words, you go under what you want so that you can, but then that's bad habits of health, right?
In a way, yes. It's really kind of, you know, getting to a point so you can be bad, right? Is that kind of So
that's the mentality.
It's the mentality. That's the diet mentality, you know. So you want to stay and you know what, Richard? There is always a fluctuation between one kilo or something, 2 pounds, you know, 2 to 3 pounds. There is a fluctuation because of hormones, water retention. So that's not really bad. You know, that's not yo-yo dieting. Yo-yo dieting is you go up 10, 15, you go down 10, 15 or more, you know. So that's yo-yo dieting. But 2 to 3 pounds or 1 kilogram is perfectly acceptable, so.
Okay, well, you were on this program before, and a lot of people are very interested in what you have to say. I had a question, and I want to ask it again from last time, and you can mention it to people. To me, the most important part of your program and other programs, well, not all, was controlling the quantity of food that I ate, okay? I was never severely obese like 40% of the American population is, but slightly overweight like 70% of the US population. Over the 6 weeks of your Habits of Health diet that I took, I read labels, measured quantities, and realized that the average Western person eats far more than the 2 or 3 handfuls of food permitted for proper weight and health maintenance. And that's what I mean. You have a handful of food, 2 or 3 is, you shouldn't eat any more than that. As we know, people eat much more than that. Can you explain to our listeners what happens to us physiologically over time to make us less hungry?
Yes, absolutely. And you're right. The portion size we are served in restaurants or anywhere, I mean, especially in America, I think much less in Europe, but here it can feed a family of 4, so for one meal, so it is, we have gotten used to bigger portion sizes and we don't need that. But what happens with our program is if you eat what we promote, as I mentioned earlier, 6 times a day, you automatically will not eat as much at lunchtime and dinner time, so you're not as hungry, and so that's really pretty
very
much
good point. Very good point.
So yeah, if you eat more often, smaller portions, you don't eat too much at once. And there was actually a study done where they had people who had three traditional meals a day, same calories as people compared to 6 times a day, and guess what happened? The people who ate 6 times a day actually lost more weight, actually 17 times more weight than the control group. They were less hungry. They decreased their cholesterol by 15%, and the blood sugars went also down by 28%. So
that's really good.
It's evidence, right? So you really want to spread out your portions a little bit more over 6 times a day.
Dominique, we only have about a minute left, so could you, time has really gone fast.
It has.
Could you summarize your habits of health and what we talked about today before we end this?
Sure. Yeah. So we're installing new habits. We're creating macro habits, and we do that really one little step at the time. We don't want to start all at once. So, but it's really going from a diet mentality where there's a beginning and an end point. We don't have that. The diet mentality talks about deprivation, rather giving up when there's a speed bump. It's not sustainable, towards really getting healthy. And that's a big shift that I like for people to understand is, what do you want to create? How do you envision yourself a year from now? How your energy is, how your sleep is, how your weight is, even, your blood panel is, So we want to create more optimal days in our health than less optimal days. We're linking arms to create healthy habits over time. It's progress, not perfection, Richard.
Okay.
All right. You don't have to be perfect, right?
I'm going to have to stop you there. We only have 15 seconds left. This interview will air in the upcoming weeks. Dominique Kohlenberger is a certified health coach and physiotherapist. You can find out more about her and her program on these 2 websites, habitsofhealth.com and coach.optavia, optavia.com. /healthy longevity. I'd like to thank Dominique Kohlenberger for being on our show today. My name is Richard Bont, and this is Curmudgeonly Yours, an eclectic show on Society Bites Radio. You can download these podcasts on societybitesradio.com. That's bites with a Y. Radio.net or richardbont.com. Radio.net is with 2 Ds. And you can also listen to us on iHeart and AHA Radio, iTunes, Spotify, Sound Echo, and several other internet platforms. Thank you, Dominique Kohlenberger.
Thank you, Richard.
So I'd like to thank our guests for being on Curmudgeonly Yours today. And please, if you like what you heard, send me an email to richard@richardbont.com. And if you didn't, please keep your comments to yourself. Remember, this is Richard Bont and Curmudgeonly Yours on Society Bites Radio, where everything is what it seems, nothing is what it seems,
and what is not said is often of most interest.